for our teacher resume and interview process. So we are live today. We are talking with teachers. Hopefully you can hear me and see me. Let me know if you can see me and hear me in the comments if you're inside the actual webinar here. I am live. I'm just checking. Oh, looks like I'm live everywhere. Perfect. Today we are going to work through how to build a resume and also some interview tactics. Now, I have a whole course on this, but I do want to give you guys some insights today. This is the time of year where people are perhaps changing schools. Maybe you're already a teacher and you want to change schools. Or maybe you are brand new and you have not even been a teacher yet. That's okay. Or maybe you're a career changer. Maybe you worked in HR or some other career and now you want to become a teacher. It's all good. I'm here for you. I can show you all of this. Just some quick background on me. My name is Kathleen Jasper. I own Kathleen Jasper LLC. I started off as a substitute teacher like many of you. I got a permanent substitute teaching job as a high school biology teacher, which was completely out of my wheelhouse. I have a degree in English from Florida State University. And, but they needed biology. So, some of you know, if they need biology, you teach biology, right? So I liked it. I was a sub to see if I liked it. It turns out I loved it. And I started working towards my certification like many of you are doing. I took the tests. I did the alternative certification route. I did all those things that you all are doing it's very difficult to do while you're teaching and having a family and all of that. And then I became certified as a high school teacher. I taught biology, English, and I became reading endorsed. I became a reading teacher. And then I became a curriculum master teacher after a few years. This is a really cool job downtown in curriculum. If you ever have an opportunity to go downtown and work in curriculum, it's a really cool job. I learned so much there. And a lot of what I do today is, what I teach you guys about tests and things like that. And then I became an assistant. I got my master's and then a specialist degree, became an assistant principal. And then I got my doctorate in educational leadership. And then I left education to start my own company. And that's what I do today. I am working today on some resume stuff, but normally I do the test prep stuff. Let me know in the chat if you have been to one of my webinars already or if you're brand new. If you are brand new, I have a lot of teacher certification stuff that you can use. So test prep, guides, YouTube videos, all of that. And today we're going to focus on the resume and interview process for new teachers because many of you, this is the time of year where you are switching to a new career. You might be leaving your job to go into education, or you might be deciding, you know what, I want to try a new school. I want to try a new grade level. I want to try a new thing. Okay. So that's what we're doing today. Now, I used to interview teachers over and over and over again. Okay. I was an assistant principal. So every summer we interviewed 20 to 30 people every week, at least 5 a day, 10 a day. And I know exactly what the principal is going to ask you, and I know exactly how you should answer. And those are just some of my skill sets, and I'm going to share that with you today. I've asked a few of you to see if, to let me know if you've been here before. And it looks like Kayla is here every Saturday morning. Thank you, Kayla. And yes, I do recognize you. Those of you who say you can't hear me, I think everybody can hear me okay. Go ahead and refresh your screen. Let the people know in the chat to refresh. Just hit the refresh button and everything should come up. Adriana is new. Cassie, I've attended a couple of your webinars and have multiple study guides. Awesome, Cassie. Thank you so much. And there are a few people in here saying they can't hear. If you wouldn't mind letting them know that they just have to turn up the volume. It says unmute broadcast at the top of the broadcast. A lot of people don't know to do that. So if you just click unmute broadcast, let them know in the chat, help your fellow chatters out. All right. So anyways, today we're working on the resume. We're going to start with the resume and then we're going to work on the interview. So these are the objectives for today. Okay. This is what we're going to be able to do once we're done, right? First, you are going to be able to build an awesome resume using ChatGPT. I'm going to show you how to use ChatGPT to build a resume. And I say this over and over again. There is no reason in the year of our Lord, 2025, that you should be doing any of this by yourself by hand. There are too many tools. There are too many things to make our lives easier. They are using AI to sort your stuff. They are using AI, at the top levels. Why are you not using AI? So I'm going to show you. I'm AI obsessed. I'm doing some pretty heavy duty lifting on the AI front, but I'm going back to the basics to show you how to use this for your resume. Whether you have a lot of experience or no experience at all with AI, today's resume builder is going to help you. And then after that, we're going to go through some topics that you're going to probably get hit with on your interview, because your resume is going to look so good that they're definitely going to call you for an interview. And we're going to go through that. Now, for more, because I have a whole course on this where you can listen to it. It's like an audio course. For more, if you want more after this is over, I'm just going to show you where you can go to get that on my website, KathleenJasper.com. And we are going to give you a 20% off coupon. It'll be in the chat if you're in the webinar. If you're watching me on social and you want the coupon, just go to the link in the description, or go to my webpage and click free webinars, and you'll be able to sign up for this. Once you do, you'll be able to get the offer code and all of that. But this is our teacher interview series. I also have a leadership interview series. I have interviewed assistant principals as well. I've sat on lots of committees to interview and to hire assistant principals and teachers. And so this is the course you want. I basically go through a ton of questions. Let me show you what it looks like. I'm going to pull it up. Give me 1 second. I go through a bunch of questions that you're probably going to get. Now, do I know every question you're going to get? No, because I'm not in every single interview you're ever going to be in. However, I do know a lot about this process. I promise you, I would not steer you astray. And I know what they're going to ask, even if you may not know. So this is what the course looks like here. I've got, an intro, and there are questions to download here. Classroom management. This is a big one. You're going to get asked a lot about classroom management, lesson planning, classroom instruction, helping struggling students. And then, of course, those miscellaneous rando questions you get. And then, of course, ending the interview. What should you do? You can be done with this course in probably a day. You can listen to it and you can print out these questions. I have the questions for you. It's super helpful. A lot of you have done it already. It's got a bunch of 5-star reviews on it. So if you're interested in more after today, this is going to be great. You can get the job just by watching this today. But if you want more, you can always go and get that. And we will give you an offer code. And it looks like there's an offer code in there. Yana has put it in there for you. And that's that. Okay, Stacy, I'm here to get some tips for interviewing. Resume is sound as I get an interview for every resume I submit, but don't feel confident in the interview. Okay, Stacy, awesome. But I'm also going to show you some tricks with the resume, because you will have to redo your resume from time to time. So we're going to start on that, and then we were going to end with the interview. Remember, there's a teaching shortage out there. So I just want you to kind of relax a little bit when it comes to this process. They need you more than you need them in a lot of ways. We are in such need for good teachers. It's a tough job. It's an awesome job. I love teaching. In fact, even in my own company, I'm a teacher still. I love being on YouTube, being on these webinars every day, every Saturday, and teaching. Like, I am a teacher in my soul, and many of you are the same way. There are politics into it and people coming after teachers all the time and all of this stuff. But ultimately, we are here to serve the students. And if you keep that at the forefront of what you're trying to do, I have no doubt that you will be successful. And it's okay that you don't have any experience, because we have a lot of new people coming on that make great teachers who have zero experience. And some of you have a lot of experience, but maybe you want to showcase some of your skills. Maybe you're burnt out at your school and you want to try something else. I'm going to show you how to do that. So today we are going to be working in ChatGPT to start. All right. This is going to be a resume course on ChatGPT, but it's also just going to be a course on how to use AI to make your lives easier. Okay. First things first, let me know in the chat if you're already using ChatGPT or Claude or any AI. Let me know if you're not and you're just a little scared to use it. You do not need any tech skills for what I'm about to show you. You do not need to pay any money for what I'm about to show you. Okay. You also this is going to help you hone your skills and really be marketable to a principal. While there is a teacher shortage, most principals are not going to just put anybody in the classroom. You need to make sure you have showcased your data analysis skills, because you are going to use data to make instructional decision, lesson planning, all of that. Okay. And that's very, very important. If I was the principal, and I've worked under lots of principals, even if you seem like a nice person, but you don't have some of these skill sets, they're not going to hire you. So there are some do's and don'ts when it comes to the interview, and some do's and don'ts when it comes to the resume. All right. So I'm scared to use it. Elena, awesome. That's perfect. I'm so glad you're here. You're not going to be scared when we're done. I have used ChatGPT. I'm not using it occasionally, not using it. Yes. This is the first time I've heard of ChatGPT. Gail. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited you're here. Erica's using ChatGPT, used it before, but scared to use it. All right, let's jump in, guys. The only way to use it is to jump in and use it. So today I'm going to use ChatGPT. It is a free AI tool. You do not have to buy anything. You just go to chatgpt.com. I always get this question. How do I get this GPT? Chatgpt.com, Google ChatGPT, and you will be able to use it. Okay. That's number one. It is free. It's open source, which means anybody can use it. All right. So I'm going to, let me open up a new ChatGPT, chatgpt.com. All right. Let me go over here. I'm going to pull it over here, and I'm going to share my screen with you all, and we're all going to use this together. Everybody says they're afraid. Don't be afraid, guys. It's all good. We're going to have so much fun with this. All right, here we go. ChatGPT. This is what it looks like. Now, I have a paid version. First off, I also have this little thing here. This is another AI tool. You won't have this, so ignore this tool. See this thing over here? It's like, burk. Please ignore that tool. That is another whole thing that I use for AI, and it's awesome, but it is paid, and that's a plugin. Don't worry about that. Pretend it's not there. But oh, it's behind my face. You can't even see it anyway. So perfect. Don't worry about it. Now, this is what you start out with a free ChatGPT. This is called the chat. All right. What can I help you with? And this right here is what you use to talk into ChatGPT. Now, this can be very overwhelming. Of course you're scared. This is like a void. You're like talking into the void. What can I help you with? Well, geez, where do I start? What can I help you with? This is like, there's a million things you need help with, I am sure, right? So what we want to do is think of ChatGPT as a thought partner, where you're going to ask it some questions. Now, really quick, I just want to go over two things: inputs and outputs. Inputs are what you put inside this chatbot. Inputs are what you type here. Okay. This is an input. So whatever question you ask, whatever prompt you use, that's an input. The output is what ChatGPT gives you, or the AI, whatever you're using. Now, outputs, in order for them to be really good, you have to have good inputs. If you just say, oh, I need help with math. Okay. That's sort of general, right? I need help with math. Well, it's going to be thinking for a minute because, and then it might even ask you questions. Are you working on a specific problem? Do you need a lesson plan? Are there particular concepts you want, and even this could be a little overwhelming. So I'm going to show you how to use ChatGPT to get started. Okay. So I'm going to go to another chat that I've already started here. Okay. So I'm going to pretend today two things. I'm two people today. The first person I am is a teacher who is, maybe I am a third year teacher and I'm switching schools. Okay. I want a new teaching position somewhere. There's a teaching position at another school, and I maybe want to go, I teach fifth grade, and instead I want to bump it to sixth grade, or I want to go down to fourth grade, whatever. Okay. And so I'm polishing up my resume. All right. Now I am brand new to ChatGPT, and I don't know what to do. I don't know how to write a prompt. Okay. So we're going to start here. And this is over in my other ChatGPT. I opened up another one here. Okay. So this right here is my input. And I want you to pay attention to my input here. Okay. I am working on a new resume for a teaching position. Can you construct a prompt that I can give back to you so you can write the resume for me. What I'm asking ChatGPT to do is help me provide a really good input. I'm new to this thing. I don't have a bunch of prompts or templates, and I need a good prompt that I will fill in to give back to you. So you give me what I need back, right? And then I say, please include all of the things I need to give you. For example, job description, current resume, etc. And then can you also give me, this is important, a set of questions I can answer that will make this even better. So I asked for two things from ChatGPT. I asked for a prompt template that I can then use. And then I asked for a set of questions that I can then answer and that ChatGPT can use to build me the best resume possible. Okay. Now, I know some of you say, oh, I have a great resume. I use it all the time. I always get an interview with my resume. That's awesome. Keep that resume. But I guarantee you that AI can probably write a better resume. I'm just going to throw that out there. AI, with its big brain and all of the internet, I bet it could polish up your resume even better. And why not? And why not have different versions of your resume? Maybe you want to get into curriculum development. Maybe you want to change to PE. Maybe you really want to be a PE teacher. You're done teaching math. You want to teach PE. Maybe you want to be department head. Maybe you want a leadership position. ChatGPT can help you adapt an already really great resume and make it even better, okay? And also, if you have zero resume, this is going to help you. All right, so let's have a look here. So ChatGPT said, here's a reusable prompt template you can drop into ChatGPT whenever you want me to draft or polish your resume, followed by a list of targeted questions. Just fill in each section. All right, and I'm going to zoom in here. All right, so it gave me my prompt template. Now, with ChatGPT, it'll usually write in this sort of kind of code-ish type thing. It's fine. What I like to do is copy this. See how you have the option to copy right here? I'm going to copy this and I'm going to put it into a Google Doc here. I'm just going to paste it. Okay. And when I do that, I can then work on this prompt without accidentally hitting enter. Let me show you what happens. When you are in here typing, let's just say, I am typing a prompt for you. This is a demonstration online to show that when I hit enter, I send you the prompt. Okay, so let's say I want to hit enter and hit a line. If I hit enter right now, it's going to get sent to ChatGPT. And let me share this tab instead. Sorry about that. I need to share this tab. I'm sharing multiple tabs here. I apologize. I will fix that. Okay. So I just typed into ChatGPT. I am typing a prompt here for you. This is an online demonstration to show that when I hit enter, I send you a prompt. Now, if I hit enter after I write this word prompt and I hit enter, it's going to send it, which can be kind of annoying in ChatGPT because you're like, I didn't mean to send that. Oh, geez. And then you have to write it over. The way you fix that is you hold down shift and you can hit enter and it won't send it. Okay. If you hit enter, it sends it. All right. But if you hit shift and enter, then it won't send it. But for that reason, I like to copy and paste the prompt in here so that, and I'll zoom in for you guys here too. I'm going to copy and paste the prompt in here so that I can work on it. You know, like, okay, what's my job title? Okay, I want to be fourth grade art teacher. Let's just say I want to be an art teacher. Okay. And it doesn't matter if you misspell things. Don't worry about it. ChatGPT can decipher it. Don't make it perfect. Don't worry about the formatting. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Trust me. Okay. Name and location. Anytime I see these brackets, it's giving me where I put my stuff in. Paste your current resume here. Listen, you can also upload the current resume. I'll show you how to do that. Your current resume does not have to be perfect either. Maybe it's an old resume from an HR position you had or whatever. It doesn't matter. Your current resume from teaching, maybe you don't like it. You're like, I hate this resume. Put it in there. At least it has something to start with. And then this third part are these enhancement questions. Let me show you that. All right. So as I scroll down, it gave me the template. I have filled the template out in Google Docs, and now I can copy that when I need to. I'm not going to do that yet. Or I could, you know what? Let's just do that. I would copy this here after I'm done filling it out, copy it. And I might say, here is the template filled in. Here is the template filled in. Now I will answer the enhancement questions. See, because it gave me these enhancement questions here because I asked for those. Remember, I said, can you give me a set of questions I can answer? So it gave me the prompt, what I asked for, and then it gave me a set of enhancement questions. So then I paste in my template. And now I say I'm going to answer the questions here. Now I've already done this, so I'm not going to do that. All right. I'm just going to delete that. But that's what you do. And it would say, okay, answer the questions. I'll be here. All right. Now let me show you something. Here are the enhancement questions. These are questions ChatGPT is asking you to answer so that it can give you a really good resume. Now, you might say, geez, I don't want to type all this. You don't have to even type it. Guess what you can do? There's this little dictate thing here at the bottom of ChatGPT. This works on your phone. It works on there's an app for ChatGPT for your phone. This works on your desktop. You simply click this dictate and watch this. I am now dictating into ChatGPT. I will answer the enhancement questions. Number 1, teaching credentials and certifications. First question, what state teaching license do you hold? I hold an elementary education teaching certificate from New Jersey. I also have a reading endorsement from New Jersey. Next, classroom instruction. What subjects or grades have you taught? I have taught 3rd grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade, all subjects, ELA, mathematics, social studies, and science. Describe your teaching styles. I really like direct instruction. I'm very good at modeling things for students. Explicit instruction is important to me. However, differentiated instruction is also very important to me, and I use data to make those decisions. We also do cooperative learning and labs when appropriate. Now, notice that I'm talking into this thing and it's sort of like jumbled up. I might even say, hang on a second. Let me think about that. Doesn't matter. You can do that and ChatGPT will decipher through all of it. You hit send it and it'll give you a very nice, let me show you. Let me show you really quick. I did a bunch of these today. Look at this says, excellent. Here's your information. It will summarize it for you right there. Now we're not done yet. We want it to build the resume. I don't care. The questions are important and having a summary of the questions are important, but ultimately I want the resume, but this is part of it. Okay. So let's go back up here really quickly. So what do we start with? Let's recap. The input was, can you help me write a prompt for a really good resume? Tell me what you need inside the prompt and I will provide it. Can you also give me a set of questions I can answer to make it even better? It gave me the prompt. I copied and pasted that into Google Docs, filled it in, saved it. I pasted it in here and I said, now I'll answer the enhancement questions. I turn on my microphone and I just talk into ChatGPT like it's a person and it's asking me these questions here. Go down, answer them all, and hit send. Okay. Now, you might say, well, that's great. These questions are great, but I'm not a teacher yet. I have no experience. It's asking me questions I have no experience in. No problem. Go to ChatGPT and say, these are really good questions, but I have not taught before. I'm brand new and changing careers from human resources. Can you change these questions so they reflect my current situation? I want to showcase my talents. I'm in the middle of getting certified, so I do know a lot about teaching. I just have not applied it yet in the classroom. That was important to show it. Like, I have talents that go into the classroom, but I don't know how to say that. Watch what it does. Gives me a new prompt because I have a different set of circumstances. I'm from HR. I'm not from the College of Education, and I'm not from an employer already in the district, right? I'm leaving HR to go become a teacher. Like many of you are leaving your whatever job to become a teacher, okay? It gave me career changer enhancement questions. Look at how good these questions are. What were your core HR responsibilities? And it'll even give you examples: onboarding, training, design, performance, major projects, quantifiable outcomes. What program are you enrolled in for teacher certification? You might say, I have begun an alternative teaching certification program with my district. I have passed the Praxis Core. I have passed the elementary education. I only have one test left, and I anticipate passing that in December 2025. And again, I could be dictating this all into here through my microphone, through my computer. Okay. And then it'll ask you any other education courses, any practicum, micro teaching modules, put it all in there. Like, let's say you did something online, or let's say my district has a program called APPLES. It stands for something, APPLES. It's like an acronym for new teachers. I completed that. All of that's good information. Throw it in there. Keep talking to this thing. The more data you give it, the better. And it's going to discern the ums and the ahs and the, I don't really know. Let me think about that. I'm not sure what you mean by this, but just talk to it. Just talk to it and hit send. Okay. Now, and you can see, I did a little bit of it. This is all just me rambling on. And then it gave me a little synopsis here. Okay. And then I said to it, because I didn't want to answer all these questions, this is a demo for you. I said, okay, so I'm going to answer the career changer enhancement questions. I'm going to do it in sections. So I'm going to do number one. Look at how I'm just rambling on here, right? And then it went in and did all that. And then I said, for teacher certification coursework, I did all that. And then I went in here. I said, okay, for the rest of these questions, can you sort of fill them in? Because I'm using this as a demo. I'm doing with people to show them ChatGPT for their resumes. So can you just make the rest of it up? And it did. You wouldn't do that, obviously, because you would want all of these to reflect who you are, what you've done, right? But I didn't want to do that all morning, spend like 45 minutes answering these questions, right? So then guess what it did? And then I said, then can you, give me my resume? Can you push out the resume? And it gave me a resume. And here it is. It gave me a professional summary, certifications based on my answers. Notice this is for the HR person changing careers. So I'm in a New Jersey alternative teacher preparation program. It says that I passed this, which is important. A principal wants to know this. In progress principles of learning and teaching exam. And this is awesome. Expected December 2025. This is very important to show a principal, because when the principal looks at your resume, she wants to know, like, am I going to have to fire this teacher in 3 years because she didn't get her certification? That's really on the mind, because you only have a certain amount of time to get your certification while you're teaching. You can teach while getting certified as long as you have a bachelor's. But the problem is that people put it off. So if I'm hiring you and I see you've already done the elementary ed and the Praxis Core, let's just say, and I see this expected December 2025, I know you're a safe bet. I know that you are going to be certified most likely, and I'm not going to have to terminate you because you didn't do it within the time frame, and I'm not going to have to hire a new teacher, because turnover is a problem, right? And then goes into some teacher preparation, relevant experience, and it goes through my HR experience. If you were already a teacher, it would go through your teaching experience. Then it did this, which I loved, this transferable skills. I did not ask it for transferable skills. You know what I said to it? I said that I'm not a teacher yet. I worked in HR and have a lot of really good skills. I know a lot about teaching, but I haven't been able to apply them yet. So you know what ChatGPT did? It made this section about transferable skills. Storyboarding, assessment creation, feedback loop integration, adult learning, tailor-made content, because I told it in my answers that I did training for staff. Well, if you train staff, that's being a teacher, right? Data analysis. This is something everybody does in their job, and we certainly do it in teaching. Communication and collaboration. Notice that it took the skills from my resume and what I told it in the questions, and it gave me this awesome section. I'm in love with this section. And then it gave me some other stuff. Okay. And then I said, all right, well, this is cool, but listen, if I copy and paste this, let me show you what this looks like when I copy and paste this. So I got all this. Okay, let's see. Copy. Let's go back to here. I'm going to show you, oops, hang on a second. 1 second. Got to get a blank doc. Here we go. All right, one more time. Sorry about this. Okay. There we go. All right. Now let's just say, let me zoom in for you. Let's say I paste that in here. All right. Now look at how crazy this is. And I'm going to have to spend like an hour formatting this. I don't want to spend an hour formatting this. That is not how I want to spend my time. So I'm going to go back to ChatGPT and say, can you put this in a format that I can copy and paste into a Word doc? And then it did. It gave me a much more, it got rid of all this spacing and got rid of these lines here that it uses when it's giving you your output. And then guess what it did? I said, okay, this is cool. There are some formatting issues with this. Can you give it to me so it's formatted in 6-point between paragraphs and bullets and aligned properly for Word? And guess what it did? It gave me the resume. Now, let me show you what that looks like. I'm going to stop sharing here for a second. I'm going to answer a few questions, but I want to show you the resume it gave me. Let me see here. I'm going to have to share entire screen, I think. Let me go here. I've got to get creative with my share screen. Ask me any questions you have in the chat while I pull this up over here. I'm going to, there we go. Okay, really quickly. This is the resume it gave me. Look how it's formatted. Look how nicely formatted it is. I asked it to format it for Word, 6-point font between paragraphs. Let me show you this. Go up here, format paragraph, 6-point. See what it did? So yeah, we don't need to spend our lives doing things that AI can do for us. Okay. And you can see that all of this works. Okay, let me go into my chat here and see what you guys are asking me so I can, okay. Hopefully you're not scared to use it now. You can even say, hey, ChatGPT, I'm scared to use you. I want to do a lesson plan. Can you help me? It will help you. Okay. All right, let's go down here. Perplexity. Some of you use Perplexity. Awesome. Yes. All right, let me go in. I'm afraid they might run my resume through some program and get me plagiarizing. No, Bertha. No. This resume is specifically tailored for you. You are answering questions that ChatGPT is asking specifically about your life. What we're doing here is, and I need people to get off this thing about like ChatGPT is cheating. I just spent probably, if you were going to do that whole process with ChatGPT, that would probably take you a good half hour, 45 minutes to answer all the questions, fill out the prompt. This is not cheating. This is being strategic, right? So you are actually asking an AI agent, what is the most effective way that I can build the best resume with my credentials? You're not lying about your credentials. You're answering the questions based on your experience, and it's giving back to you an output based on that. So this is your personal resume. It's not going to do that. And if anybody is running your stuff through an AI plagiarism checker, I feel like I wouldn't want to work for that organization anyways. I feel like we need to teach people to use these tools. We need to teach students to use these tools properly so that we can all get better. This is going to make us better. Okay. Okay. ChatGPT is a big help. Okay. ChatGPT is outdated. I need help with teaching a lesson in front of strange students, principal, and teachers. It's part of the second process of an interview. Julie, I don't think ChatGPT is outdated. It's constantly updating all of the time. You can actually help it. You can actually ask it to help you with that task. Obviously, you have to be in person to do that. But if you're talking about a performance-based assessment, that's something that we can talk about for the interview part. But ChatGPT is definitely not outdated. It's updating all the time. They're constantly sending out new models all the time. Okay. Okay, somebody is saying it's too small. If you're on the phone, you might want to turn your phone and zoom in. Okay, here we go. I'm just looking to see if there are any. This is a game changer. Wow. Okay. Should a resume fit into only one page? Elena, I like it to be one page because, and here's why. I sorted through a ton of resumes when I was an assistant principal. And whenever we got 2, 3, 4-page resumes, it just was too much. We're already overwhelmed with the amount of interviews we have to do. Make it easy on the person interviewing you. Okay. It's very, very, very important. Just try to get it 1 to 1.5 pages is it. You don't need to include everything. And you can even say to ChatGPT, I love my resume, but it's 4 pages. Can you bring this down to 1.5 pages, please? And it will. It'll get the gist of it. All right. This is a game changer for sure. Yep. I will be using ChatGPT as of today. Kayla, awesome. Awesome. Use it. This is huge. I've been worried about making my resume stand out. This is the way to do it. Now, let's say you get the resume and you're like, this is pretty good, but I wanted to show something else. Like maybe there's something you did. Maybe you were a coach and you forgot to mention it. Okay. Just say, hey, I love this resume. Can you add one more thing? I was a coach for 16 years, a girls' soccer coach or something like that. Maybe you're a career changer, you're coming late in life, you want to become a teacher. Maybe you want to showcase that. Maybe you are a student teacher already. You are in the College of Education and you want to really show that you did a lot during your student teaching. Some student teachers don't do much, but maybe you got paired up with a teacher who gave you all kinds of responsibilities like grading papers, classroom management, curriculum development, all of that. Make sure you put that in there. Hey, the question didn't ask me this one thing, but this is really important to me. Can you incorporate that in my resume and tell it, Okay. No more paying someone to be your resume writer. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Did you show a teacher a resume? I just joined from California. I did show a teacher resume. We just went through ChatGPT, but don't worry, you will get the replay of this straight to your inbox. No worries. So we're going to go over the interview next, but we just did the ChatGPT resume. It was awesome. Ask people in the chat. It's really cool to use ChatGPT, you guys. So here we go. Mine is 1.5 and I feel bad about it. Don't feel bad about 1.5. Feel bad about 3, 4. If you have a resume that's 3, 4 pages, you're becoming a teacher. You're not trying to become the superintendent. You're not showing every single thing. What you want, this document is giving you the interview. It's to say, hey, I'm worthy of an interview. Try not to put everything in the resume. Let's make sure that you are shown like, hey, I'm worthy of an interview. That's what the interview is for. Okay. I have an Indian curriculum experience and switching to British curriculum teaching. Anything I can add to? I would throw that when you're talking about the Indian curriculum versus British curriculum, throw that into ChatGPT. It will find ways to connect it. Okay. Is it necessary to upload a pic on your resume? I would say no pictures. No pictures. There's no need for that. Okay. Not afraid anymore. Cool. Julie, I rocked the interview, but the second interview is teaching a lesson. Do you have input on how to help? Yes. I will do that in the interview part in just a second. Okay. I've been in the education field for 20 years as a para and a long-term or short-term sub filling in for maternity positions. How do I sum all that experience up in a 1-page resume? Right now, my resume is 2 pages and I would feel like I'm giving myself the short end of the stick. That is a normal thing to think of, Dana. What I would do is put exactly what you typed in to me, put that into ChatGPT, give it your resume, and even ask it to give you some clarifying questions. You might say, hey, I made this resume on my own a while ago. I'd like to update it based on this resume and what I'm trying to do, which is show your paraprofessional experience along with short-term subbing experience over the last 20 years. You're trying to condense that in a well-made resume. Can you give me a couple of clarifying questions I can answer that would make this even better for you? And that will put it up there. Okay. Kristen, are we talking cover letters as well? Sure. Let's talk about the cover letter. Okay. It just gave me my resume here. Let me share screen. Okay. So it gave me my resume. For those of you who are new, just came in, we asked ChatGPT a bunch of questions. We asked for a template. Definitely go back and watch that part of the video. We got our formatted resume. All right. And then can you construct me a 2-paragraph? You don't need a huge cover letter, please. The principal is busy. Paragraph, cover letter that I can send in an email that will help entice the principal to read my resume. Also, let me go ahead and fix all that. Also, please keep it short and to the point. Please don't put in anything too wishy-washy in there. Okay. And enter. Yeah, you can do a cover letter. Just ask it to write you a cover letter. I'm excited to submit my application for and you put your thing in there, teaching position at school, blah, 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 as a seasoned human resource professional with over 7 years experience. So this cover letter is going with this resume. Remember, we did a career changer one because a lot of you are career changers. But if you were a teacher, it would say with over 10 years experience in the classroom, blah, blah, blah. I'm doing the career changer example here. But remember, yours is going to be specific about yours. I bring a fresh perspective to the classroom and a proven ability to engage diverse learners. That's something that we need in the classroom, yes? Having passed the New Jersey K-6 certification exam and completing key coursework in classroom management, lesson planning, and reading in the content area, I'm eager to apply my skills in instructional design. Look at this. Perfect. 2 paragraphs. Throw it in an email. Attach your resume. You're done. And it's a really good resume because I asked it this one thing. And let's go back. Don't forget this thing. Let me go back up here. This was my original prompt. I am working on a new resume for a teaching position. Can you give me a prompt that I can fill out, then give back to you for a really good result? And this is the most important part. Can you also give me a set of questions I can answer that will make this even better? Gave me the prompt, gave me the questions. I then dictated. I didn't even write these questions. I spoke into my computer and talked to ChatGPT like it's a friend or a colleague. And I answered these questions. I did the one for an HR resource manager because I wanted to show a career changer. That's why my cover letter and my output for resume is the career changer one. And that's why my cover letter here. Okay. In my HR roles, I reinvented a 100-page handbook into an online learning experience. This was something I said into the questions. It asked, what were some of the things you did as an HR manager? And I made up, I reinvented a 100-page handbook and turned it into an online learning experience. It knew to pull this one question out. There were probably 30 questions, but it zeroed in on my answer on that because it was such a good answer. Taking a handbook and turning it into an online learning experience. That's what we need teachers to do, right? Coached individuals one-on-one and use data to boost retention by 15%. This is what I answered in my questions. It asked me these very specific questions. Then it pulled out that information and put it in my cover letter. It also put it in my resume. That's it, guys. Please use this tool. Please use the tool. Okay. Let's have a look here. Am I supposed to be pushing a cover letter and resume to various principals in the district in addition to filling out the corporation's application? Okay, Michelle. So it just depends. Sometimes when you interview, you're going through a portal in the district. Sometimes you select the school, what you are trying to interview for, like they have a portal that you dump your stuff into. Any big school district is going to do that. Now, if you're in a very small town and the one principal is running the district, that happens too. If you live in a small town and the superintendent is also the principal of the high school, then you might just be applying with that principal. You know what I'm saying? So it just depends. But most of the time, the district has a portal. It'll have all of the positions posted. Probably you click on that position and then you upload your resume that way. Let me show you one more thing just to be careful. And it might ask you for a cover letter. It might not. You might also send an email to the principal or the assistant principal and say, hey, I did this online through the district, but I'm really interested in this position. I really want to teach at your school. So I thought I would just drop it here. I don't want to bother you, but here you go. And you might do that too, because the squeaky wheel gets the grease. You know what I'm saying? Let me show you let me show you this really quickly. Okay. So this is our final resume that we did not write. And we even asked it to format it. It even did the spacing for us. Okay. So we don't have to get bogged down in the minutia. We're using AI to make our lives better, to be better, right? But I do not want to send this the way it is, because if you send it through Word, it could shift. And when they download it, it could be all messed up. Okay. So once you are done with your resume and cover letter, if you want to have a separate cover letter, you know how sometimes it'll be the first document will be the cover letter, second document will be the resume. Sometimes the cover letter is just an email to the principal to say, hey, here's my resume, blah, blah, blah. Either way, you want to save this as a PDF. This I am very adamant about. If you upload a Word document, it's going to shift in transition. If you save this as a PDF, then it's locked. Okay, so just go to File, Save, and you can hit PDF. Make sure you're uploading PDFs, not Word documents. Always. Always, always, always. It should be a PDF. Never upload Word docs because that tends to shift. Okay. All right. Let me go back to some questions and we'll get on to the interview. Love this PD. Thank you. Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah. This is like the PD you can use right now, right? Teachers love professional development that you can use right this second. And this is the one. I am building a course for AI for teachers. It'll be done probably on the 24th of May. I'm also having a webinar that day for AI. I'm going to show you all kinds of things you can do. Not just this. There are so many things for educators that you can do that will make you an even better educator, and how to show your students how to use this as well. Okay. How would I structure my resume and cover letter as a first-time teacher who has acquired most of my experience from field placement? This is a great question. Okay. So let's go back one more time. I'm going to take your question here. I think your name is Asia. It's spelled interestingly. I hope I'm not butchering it, Asia. Let me throw this into Chat GPT. So let me go back. So you all have different needs, right? You all have different needs. Okay. So let's go back here. I'm going to keep all of this here because this has trained my agent. Every chat is training your agent. So for example, all of this information that I gave it is in there now, right? So I'm just going to leave it there and I'm going to put Asia's question. How would I structure my resume and cover letter as a first-time teacher who has acquired most of my experience in field placement? Can you create a prompt for me and a set of questions I can answer so I can have the best resume possible? I do not know where to start, but I can get you the info you need. I could also have dictated that into this microphone here. Okay, here we go. And it's going to do it. Now, while it's thinking, and sometimes it thinks, sometimes you have to wait. Sometimes it's slow. Most of the time it's pretty fast. You can also stop it and try it again. We're going to let it go here for a second. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a moment while it works on that. But I also want to talk one more thing. I think it was Julie. Was it Julie who said she needed help with a lesson? You can also plug that into Chat GPT, Julie. You can say for the interview, I think it was Julie that said, I have to teach a lesson in front of the teacher, or I have to simulate what I'm going to do. You can put in the scenario that happened in that interview. So let's say you nailed the first interview, right? You nailed, you nailed the interview, and now they say, okay, we want you to simulate a second grade lesson on ELA. Okay. You can go into Chat GPT and say, okay, here's how my interview went. Now they want me to do a simulated lesson or mock lesson for ELA. The grade level is second grade. My strengths are direct instruction. I'm really good at direct instruction. I love read aloud, think aloud. I love, maybe word walls, some things that you like to do in your classroom. Throw that in there and say, can you kind of give me like a bulleted script on how I would do that so that it can at least give you some main things. And then you might say, okay, let's say they're going to just on the fly give me something crazy. Can you just give me like a few bulleted points that I can make sure to include when they ask me this question? And you can study that. All right. Let me see if ChatGPT got me back to here. Oh, yep, it did. Okay, let's see. So this was for Asia's question. And I said, can you do a prompt? I'm a first-time teacher and I've only gotten my experience in the field placement. Okay. Copy this like we did before. We put it into this is the wrong one. Sorry. Let me go to, this was, hang on one second. Let me find that tab. Okay. We put it in here. All right. Fill it out and all that. Then we send it back to ChatGPT. And then ChatGPT gave me all these questions. Field placement experience. Okay. Then I'm going to click this little button here. And I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to answer your enhancement questions. Field placement experience. The school that I was in was this school and these dates. Class size was typically 15 to 25 students. My daily responsibilities were getting students in the classroom silently, getting them fixed up with their bell ringer, and getting them started on direct instruction while the teacher worked on some administrative tasks. I also helped with grading papers and building lessons and all of that other stuff. Okay. A standout achievement or win that I secured during this time was I was able to help a student who could not pass her reading exam in third grade. She finally passed it because of my individualized instruction with her. And then I hit that and it'll transcribe it. And then you hit send. And it'll give you look at that. Gives you all that. Okay, next up, education certification details. Okay, boom, hit this. Okay, next up is education and certification details. The degrees I've earned, I have a BA in elementary education. The certification program I am in is the one given by my state. I am working on my elementary education certification exam and my Praxis core. Key education courses I've completed, classroom management, reading in the content area, whatever those are. And then I hit check. And then I hit send. And it'll just keep doing that. And you will get a really awesome resume that way. You can do this for any content area, anything you need. Okay. All right. So let me stop there. Elena, please send me the AI info for PD. Yes, we will. It'll all go out in emails. Okay. Steps. Go to ChatGPT. Say what you want. Get back from. Okay. You have to actually teach in front of real kids in a strange classroom. Oh, Julie, they are making you do that. Okay. We'll talk about that. Don't worry. I've got you. By the end of this, you'll know. Okay. Let's see if I have. All right, let's get into Asia. I hope I said your name right. Let me know if I didn't, but I appreciate that question. I just had an interview on Thursday. They had 20 applicants. They only interviewed 8 of them, only hired 2. I did terrible on my interview. I went over potential questions for days. And when I went there, I froze. That happens. Let's see here. I got brain frog. I ended up not getting the position. A teacher with more experience ended up getting the position. Okay, here's the deal. Let's talk about the interview. You are going to bomb an interview. I mean, I remember when I interviewed first for an assistant principal position, I had to go in. We were in front of committees. We had to go into each individual room, and in the room were 4 principals, and they fired questions at you. This was for a more, it was an administrative job, an assistant principal job, but I sweated through my suit. I had big wet stains on my suit. I was like trying to stay like this so no one would see it. I answered some questions very poorly. It was not good. Okay. I've also interviewed for other positions that I just flailed in. Here's what you have to understand. It takes practice. Interviewing is a skill. Okay. Here's a couple things that you can do right away to do the interview. First of all, wear something comfortable. I do not mean wear jeans and a t-shirt. But if you bought a brand new suit to go sit in an interview, I mean, that's not necessary, right? Wear something. Maybe there's a dress you love that's appropriate. Maybe there's a pair of pants that you love. Wear those. You do not have to wear a suit to your interview for a teaching position. And I say you don't even have to wear a suit to interview for an assistant principal position. I mean, you need to dress up, but be comfortable. Okay. And you want to be practicing, these types of questions all the time. Okay. Here are some things that you can, number one, get ready to answer in your interview. First things first, you need to have a plan for classroom management. All right. This is very, very important. So a principal does not want to hire someone who is going to have terrible classroom management and who is going to write referrals all the time. And then admin has to step in and take care of the class. They don't want that. And you need to have good classroom management. So you need to come up with a classroom management strategy. Now, I have a lot of this in the course. It goes through, it's like a 30-minute video. Okay. We're not going to go through all of it here. But even if you're a new teacher, you can say, I know how important classroom management is, and I have a plan for practice routines and procedures in my classroom. And once I get started teaching, I'll be able to refine it a little bit more, but I definitely know how important routines and procedures are. And I have a classroom management plan. And then you might want to go through it. Maybe you have a plan for entering the classroom. You have a plan for transitions. You have a plan for walking your kids to lunch. If you're high school, you have a plan for when kids enter the room. You have a plan for when you start direct instruction. Everybody needs a classroom management plan, period. And I will be running a course on that after the AI course. I'm going to be running a classroom management course over the summer going into the next year because everybody needs help with classroom management. It's the hardest thing. No learning can take place until we have classroom management. If you got disruptions going on, nobody's learning. Okay. So practice routines and procedures will cut down. It'll cut down about 90% of your problems. And it will also help you when there are problems. If you have practiced procedures and routines, that means you take time to practice it. It's not like, okay, here are my rules. They're on the wall. Okay, good. We're good, right? Okay, let's go. Let's start learning. No. It's a list of procedures, expectations. We practice, I model. It's a whole thing. If you want to be successful in the classroom, you have to take the time to go through this before any learning takes place. Don't even try to open that book. First week or so of school, you're going through procedures and routines. And I go through a lot of that in, hang on, shameless plug, my book, Teach, a Survival Guide for New Educators. And I go over it in my course, Teach, a Survival Guide for New Educators. Okay, so get a plan for classroom management. Second thing is lesson planning. You use the standards to lesson plan. If you don't know what the standards are, you need to go and look up the standards for your grade level and content area. Okay. So that's very, very important. You use data to make instructional decisions. Okay. So you need to make sure that you are letting the principal know that they might say, how do you lesson plan? What's your process for lesson planning? The only thing the principal wants to hear, standards. I go through the standards for my grade and content area. Maybe it's second grade, whatever it is, 10th grade biology, whatever it is. I look at the standards in the curriculum map and I plan accordingly. That's it. No other answer. They want to know you're teaching to the standards, okay? They want to know you have a classroom management plan. How do you make decisions in your classroom? What are some things that you do to make decisions in your classroom? I use data to make decisions in my classroom. I use formative data. I use summative data. I use all different types of data. And, that might be observations. It might be test scores, but I use all of that to make decisions and I differentiate instruction or I move on or I slow down. It just depends on what the kid's data is giving me. Okay. Another one, how do you deal with struggling students? This is where differentiated instruction, scaffolding, those types of things come in. Now, if you're a new teacher and you've never differentiated instruction, you might say, well, I haven't taught yet, but I'm doing a lot of online tutorials about differentiated instruction. And I'm learning a lot about how to take a whole class and really break it up so you can target certain students. Go in there and tell them what you're doing. You attended my webinars. You go to my webinars, right? All we talk about, I am preparing you for the test, but what do I talk about? Reading strategies, differentiated instruction, scaffolding, right? It's all there. Today, I'm talking to you about it. You're doing professional development online. So make sure you let the principal know. I do professional development on YouTube a lot. I learn a lot. And a lot of the people I listen to have doctorates in education. You could say, like, it's not just a YouTuber, I mean, YouTubers are in their own right. I only have 80,000 on my YouTube channel. Some of them have hundreds of millions. So, whatever. But, that you are following reputable people and they are teaching you. That's okay. Gail, yes, they want good words. Yes, all those good words we talk about. Differentiated instruction, standards alignment, data-driven instruction, all of that is going to be really important, okay? Stephanie, professional development is key. Yes, and here's another thing you can get across to your principal or whoever's interviewing you. You like professional development, okay? A lot of teachers don't, but let's just pretend for the interview you do. You might want to say, I really do seek out professional development that's going to make me a better teacher. I'm learning a lot about AI and digital tools that I can engage with my students. I'm learning a lot about classroom management strategies. You can say this to a principal. Like if I were a principal and you were a brand new teacher, you've never taught before, and you say, the principal might say, well, what's a typical day look like in your classroom? This is one that stumps a lot of people, right? You might say, well, I haven't had a typical day yet because I'm brand new, but I've been doing a lot of research online. And I know that I have to start with entering the classroom quietly and in formation so that we can start the day off right. So I have a procedure for entering the classroom. Then I have a bell ringer for my students to do right away to keep them busy. And that bell ringer is going to be robust enough where it's not busy work. It's actually going to lead into the lesson. And then once I'm done taking attendance and all the things I need, I'm going to stand up in the front of the room and I'm going to give direct instruction. I'm going to model and I'm going to show the students everything they need to be successful for that lesson. We're going to have some question answers going back and forth. I'm going to review the objectives for the day. I'm going to talk to the students what they are responsible for, and we're going to review those objectives along the way. And then we're going to learn. We'll do a little cooperative learning. We'll probably do more direct instruction. And then at the end, we're going to wrap up so we can determine if we met the objectives. And if we've met the objectives, then I know we can move on. If we haven't, I know I need to slow down and maybe revisit some of these for tomorrow. And that is what you can do for that. Even if you are not a teacher, you can say those things. You can say, well, I haven't done it yet, but here's my plan. I've learned all of this. I've read a lot of books and I'm really excited to be a teacher. That tells the principal that you're teachable, you're coachable. If you walk in, you're like, I've taught for 20 years. There's nothing you can tell me. I know it all. You're not going to get the job. You're not going to get the job. You could say, I've taught for 20 years and I'm still learning amazing things every day from my students. I love professional development. If you're 20 years in, you probably don't love professional development, but that's that. Let's see here. Also in the student teaching helps a lot. Yes, Alexandra, referencing your student teaching helps a lot. Okay. Here is another thing I want you to remember. Okay. Very, very important. Never, ever badmouth another teacher, principal, or talk negatively in an interview. Whenever I hear that in an interview, you are automatically a no. I don't care if I know the principal and I know the principal is a terrible jerk. We all know each other. When I was an assistant principal, I knew every assistant principal in the district. I still do. They're still my friends, right? The principals all know each other and they may not like each other, but they're on the same team. They're principals. So if you go into the interview and you start saying, well, my last principal, she was terrible. Or you might say something more subtle like, we didn't really see eye to eye. Don't do that. Just say, I learned a lot from that experience. I'm so grateful that she gave me a chance. I learned a lot and I'm excited to apply what I learned to a new position. Don't badmouth anybody. Keep it positive. I don't care if you had the worst experience. Never badmouth another admin in an interview or anybody. It is a red flag and it makes it look like you can't work with people and you will go to the bottom of the list. So please. And I know you might say, well, I would never badmouth somebody in an interview. It could be a subtle dig like, well, we didn't really see eye to eye, or that was a different experience for me. Don't do that. Just say, I learned a lot. And you probably did learn a lot. You probably learned what you don't like. You probably learned that you couldn't work in that environment. That's okay. You don't have to be specific. Just say, I learned a lot from that experience and I am so grateful she gave me a chance. Keep it classy. Classy. All right. What are my chances to get hired if I have just ELS, TBE, no student teaching? If you don't have student teaching, a lot of people are career changers. You don't have to have experience to teach. But you do have to have a willingness to learn, and you do have to answer the questions properly in the interview. All right. So let's, get another one here. Kayla says, I was asked, how would you deal with conflict with a colleague? And what would you do if your back is turned while writing on the board and a student throws an object at you? Okay, let's talk about these two. This is how I would answer. How would you deal with conflict with a colleague? Here's how you answer those questions. When it comes to conflict resolution, I'm really good at that. One thing that I try to do is listen to the other person and have empathy and see where they are coming from. We can always work it out. Typically, people get frustrated. Teaching is not the easiest job in the world. And so I find that waiting 24 hours or even listening to the person's side of the story or giving it some time is like the number one thing I can do. Trying to see it from another perspective is really key in conflict resolution. And I am confident that I can find common ground with my colleagues, no matter what the situation is. That's what you need to say. Okay. What would you do if your back is turned while writing on the board and a student throws an object at you? This all depends. I might ignore it. I would probably ignore it. I would probably pretend that I didn't feel it, and I would just turn around and keep teaching. Because what that student wants is a reaction. That student wants to get the whole class laughing. And so I would probably turn around and act like it didn't happen and just keep teaching. Now, if he or she continued, then I would finish up what I was doing. I would have the students begin something really quickly, like, hey, everybody, let's do numbers 1, 2, and 3 at the end of this. I'm going to walk around the room and make sure that everybody's got this. And then they start, and you go right straight over to that kid's desk and you say, come with me. And you either take them back to the room and say, I don't know what the deal is here, but it needs to stop. Or you're going to, either be sit out back here or be outside of the classroom. Or you might say, what can I do to make it so that you can behave during this session? What do you need from me? And then you might say something like, I have confidence that you can do this. Let's go back to our seats and try again and try it again. And if the student still doesn't do what you need him or her to do, you can then ask him to go sit in the back of the room, and then you can deal with it after class. The key is do not break instruction. Do everything you can not to break instruction. And I would ignore if somebody threw an object at me. If it was like a piece of paper, I would just be like, okay, everybody, they want attention. Don't give it to them. Even though you want to wring their neck for throwing something at you, okay? That's what you need to do, is ignore it. It's called planned ignoring. It's a strategy and it works. All interviews I go in, the first question is, tell me about yourself. How would you answer this? I learned now that I shouldn't go over my resume, but I should give them a summative about who I am. Yeah, just say, I like to run. I really love fitness. I've really enjoyed this process of becoming a teacher. I've learned so much in my student teaching, kind of bring it towards teaching, but also show a piece of yourself. You be careful about anything personal you give them. I just got married, I'm going to have a baby. Like, we don't want to say that, even though they can't not hire you because of that. That's against the law, but let's keep some of those things to ourselves. Some people are saying that they don't hear sound. Can you guys help them in the chat and let them know to unmute broadcast? I think everybody can hear me. Let me know if you can't hear me. All right. So let's go over a couple things. First, we went over, tell me a little something about yourself. Started the interview. Then they might say, what is your process for lesson planning? We use the standards. Okay. And we use data to plan lessons, because we can't move too quickly and leave a bunch of kids behind, right? And we can't move too slowly because we need to move, right? So lesson planning goes with standards and data. Classroom management. What's your plan for classroom management? Well, I have practice routines and procedures in my classroom that we go over at the beginning of the year, and we revisit them if the students forget them, because they do forget them, especially around Christmas time. Things start to get crazy. We just stop everything we're doing and we go back to classroom management for a few minutes and remind our students and the teacher what the expectations are. Okay. Making sure that you communicate expectations clearly. Kids can't read your mind. Okay. It's not common sense. And it's not common sense for adults either. Hear this all. Oh, it's just common sense. I have taught professional development to grown adults, and they do the same things the students do. If the instructions are not clear, they start talking to their neighbor. They start saying, what is this woman trying to do? Oh, she's so annoying. You know how many times I've heard that in the professional development from a teacher who doesn't want her students to talk about her like that? Lots of times. And it's my fault. Why? Because I didn't give clear enough instructions and she got annoyed. So I need to have clear instructions. We are explicit in our instructions. We are explicit in our expectations. Okay. We want to make sure that we have a plan for all of that, right? We are explicit. Classroom management, we have a plan. Even if we've never taught before, we have a plan. Then they might say, what does a typical day look like in your classroom? Walk through it. Use those good words I talk about. We're going to have explicit direct instruction. We're going to have interactive cooperative learning. We are going to have objectives on the board. We're going to refer back to the objectives and things like that. So it's really important that you get that across. Now, there are going to be some other things, but here's what the principal wants to know about you. They want to know that you're going to build robust lessons for your students, that your students are going to be engaged. They want to know that you care about students, okay? You may want to pepper in there like, I love teaching. I really want to help people understand math. I love math. And everybody can do math. That's a teacher. Everybody can do math. They just need the right teacher, or they just need the right hook to get them. If I hear that in an interview, I'm like, oh my God, I love this person. I want kids to be as pumped about history as I am. I want kids to understand how important world history is. You know, when they say that to you, why do you want to be a teacher? You could say, oh, well, I want to inspire the minds of tomorrow. Boring. Say, I'm obsessed with math. I'm obsessed with grammar. Like, I love grammar. This is true. I love grammar. And I want people to know how awesome it is. And I want to teach grammar and writing. And I want students to be better writers. And I want to inspire them to try new things. That's the stuff that you want to say. Somebody says here, I love seeing little minds get the aha moment. Yes, say all of that. Okay. All right. So they want to hear that. They want to hear that you're planning based on standards. They want to hear that you have a classroom management plan. Now, you might get a question. And before I get into the thing that Julie needs a walkthrough of a plan for teaching in front of kids. One of the things they might ask you is, do you have any questions for us? And this is when you start to sweat and you're like, oh God. The only question I would ask a principal is, what does a highly effective teacher look like to you? Or what do you consider a really good teacher? Because that tells the principal that you want to know what the principal thinks so that you can do that. You know, so you could say, I'm brand new. I've never taught before. You know, what are you looking for in a teacher? Is it about engagement? Is it, you know, what are the things that when you go in and look at a teacher, what do you want to see? And the principal will probably go on and on and on and on. And you could just sit there and let the principal go on and on and on. And you've asked a really good question and you don't have to ask anymore. You can say, wow, thank you so much. That gives me a lot of information. That's very helpful. Thank you. That's it. Okay. All right. Now I have a whole course on more topics. I have all of the questions. You can do it as an audio course even. You can listen to it on your walk and things like that. Let's talk about something that Julie was asking about teaching in front of students. Now, this is throwing you in the fire big time, I guess. And Julie, if you're still in here, let me know in the chat. I guess after her interview, she had a second interview, which means she has to go in and teach in front of a bunch of kids that she doesn't know. This is very difficult. All right. Now, what I would do, now I don't know if you have a set lesson plan or if you make up the lesson plan on your own, Julie, let me know. But here's the thing that I would do. I would walk up in front of the kids and I would say something probably like, well, this is interesting. You don't know me, I don't know you, but I really appreciate your help today because I'm trying to be a teacher and I'm going to do a lesson with you guys. And I really appreciate your cooperation. I know this is sort of weird, but I'm going to do my best today to do a mock lesson so that I can become a teacher here at the school. Will you guys help me out with that? And they might be like, yeah, sure. They might be like, ugh. If they're middle school, they're probably like, whatever. Okay. But acknowledging the kids and saying, hey, I know this is a little strange that I'm not your teacher, but I'm going to do a mock lesson with you so that we can do this. Okay. And they've given me a lesson that I have to teach you. So I'm going to make it as engaging as possible. And if you have any questions, do me a favor and raise your hand. Okay. That's going to be our procedure for today. If you have a question, let's raise your hand. Something you need to know about me is that when I'm teaching in the front of the room, I need it to be really quiet because I have ADHD. This is true, by the way. I do tell students this. I have ADHD, and if I hear whispering or talking, I can't concentrate. Like I go straight to the talking and the whispering. So if you could, I would really appreciate it if when I'm speaking, you're not speaking. And if you do have a question, I want to hear your question. Just raise your hand and I'll call on you. Okay. So let's try it. Let's see if we can walk through a few things here. And when you have a question, raise your hands. Okay. And so maybe Julie then, it says Julie here, they give you what to teach. Okay. Hopefully there are some objectives there. All right. Okay. So I'm going to go over the objectives for the lesson today. Let's have a look at the objectives today. All right. So here's our first objective. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to, and let's just pretend it's ELA, write a complete sentence with a subject and a predicate. All right. Anybody have any questions about that? Raise your hand at all. How many of you have written subject and predicates before? And maybe they raise their hand. Okay, great. Awesome. All right. Next objective is this, blah, blah, blah. Go over the objectives. Those are the expectations for the class. Okay. All right, let's get started. And then you start going through your lesson, stopping periodically. You might say, what questions do you have? Instead of, does anybody have any questions? A better way of saying it is, what questions do you have? Because then it's like, I'll take your questions now. Okay. Let's see. I have 10 lesson interviews in the last 10 years. Wow. Okay. So that's what I would do. And then I would go through the lesson. If at any time they start to break procedure and they start talking, because these are not your students, so they might give you a run for your money. Okay. You might say, oh, you know what? We're talking when I'm talking. Let's go ahead and stop and try this procedure again. What do we do when we want to ask a question? Anyone? We raise our hand. Okay. Yes. So let's raise our hand and then we'll get moving through this lesson and just engage them, ask them questions. If you're engaging them and you're asking them questions, they're not going to have a whole lot of time to make your life miserable. They still can. Middle and high schoolers, they're a very talented bunch, but you may just be real with them and say, I know this is awkward, you guys, but I'm here to teach a lesson. I'm really excited about being a teacher at this school. And so they've given me a lesson to teach you and I need your help. Whenever you say, I need your help, kids go, what do you need my help with? You need my help? What do you need my help with? They immediately stop. So just say, I need your help. Can you help me out with that today? And they'll all go, yeah, sure, I can help you. That's the way to frame it. That's how I would do it. But it's definitely anxiety inducing. That's an intense situation, Julie. So that's how I would do it. I don't know what lesson you're being given, so I can't give you any specifics. I can just talk to you about the beginning, middle, and end. I would definitely go over the objectives because that's how we understand what's going on with learning. And you would say this in your interview. I always go over the objectives first so students know what they're responsible for. I periodically go back to the objective when we have reached the objective. I say, hey, did we just get this objective, subject and predicate? You guys know what a subject and predicate is? Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs up. Awesome. Objective 1 covered. We did it. All right, check that. Now let's go to the second objective. And then referring back to those objectives, that's going to be music to the principal's ears. Yes, objectives, talking students through them, letting students know what they're responsible for. All of that is gold. Okay. And again, use that in your interview. I write really good objectives for my lessons and I communicate them to students. Just writing them on the board does nothing. You have to say, hey, objective 1, this is what we're responsible for. Hey, objective 2, this is what we're responsible for. All right, let's see here. Also, the exit ticket is very important for demos. Okay, exit ticket. You might want to say this in your interview. Your principal might say, "What sort of data?" They might be trying to trip you up. "What sort of data do you use in your classroom?" And you're like, "Oh God, data." Well, obviously, it uses state scores and things like that. But what I love is formative data, formative assessment. That's when you're talking to students, you're observing students. You might say, I find that formative data is the most powerful data. When I do an exit slip at the end of a lesson and I have students write down what they learned and what they still have questions about, and I collect all those little sticky notes, that's like a whole thing of data for me to learn what I'm going to do the next day or what I'm going to do the next week in my lesson. If, 70% of my students have the same question, I know I need to go back and go over that. So that data analysis is very important to my teaching. I also use state test scores and things like that, but I find the observations and the formative assessment I do on a day-to-day progress monitoring basis is what really helps me become the best teacher I possibly can. Okay? All right. So that's what I have for you we kind of went over. I was only supposed to do an hour. We're at an hour 20. Any other questions? Remember, ChatGPT for the resume. If you came late, you're going to want to watch that ChatGPT portion. Ask anybody in the chat. It was pretty awesome what you can do. A lot of people were afraid to use ChatGPT and now they're going to use it. I have another course coming up, AI for Educators. Be on the lookout for that. We will send it out in emails and all of that. If you're on my email list, make sure you drag my emails to your inbox so they don't go to spam. Okay. Let me show you where you can get a few more things, a few more free resources. Okay. So let's go to, first of all, my YouTube channel. I have tons of videos here on YouTube to help you. I've got Stand Out in Your Teacher Interview. This is an old video. Look at my hair. Oh my God. I'm like, this is old. I'm in a suit. Now I wear tank tops. Anyway, this is a good one. Lots of people love this. I've got other things. I've got playlists. I've got lives. This will go up here. I also have specifics for which exam you're taking. Obviously, foundations of reading, teaching reading, all of that. I do actual test prep as well as this. Last week, I did the early childhood education. On top of that, I just wanted to bring this to your attention. I started another YouTube channel called KMJ Learning. This is for college prep, SAT, ACT, GED. If you have students who struggle or who want help with SAT, ACT, GED, essays, things like that, send them over to KMJ Learning. And if you wouldn't mind, definitely hit me up here. We do a lot of math. You can see here, I use the Desmos calculator. There's a lot going on with the SAT, digital SAT. So I try to help students with that. So check that out. I'm also on TikTok. I do micro learning on TikTok. I have a lot of good stuff here about test prep, but also, where did we have it? There were this one here, how to stand out in your teacher interview. I've got a lot of micro learning here. So this is very important. And of course, show me some love on the KMJ Learning TikTok account. I have 29 followers. I need 1,000 to go live. So let your kids know I am on TikTok. For this one, I do a lot more SAT prep. I'm going to be doing all of it, but this one is more geared towards high school students and college prep. But if you're working on your math, this would help you a lot because it's a lot of SAT math. So that'll help you there. So KMJ Learning on for college prep on TikTok and YouTube, but it's Kathleen Jasper, the ones that you want. You want Kathleen Jasper. Then beyond that, let's go back to there we go. On my website, of course, I have all of the resources that you need. Under here on online courses, you can grab this teacher interview course. It looks like this, and it's pretty short and it's pretty cheap. I think it's $39.99 plus the discount code that you get in the chat and in the email that's going out today. So you'll be able to, it's like 15% off of that. You just go through here. You can actually listen to these, but you can see like the classroom management videos, 14 minutes. Lesson planning is 16 minutes. Classroom management, classroom instruction. So it's about, an hour or two of video here. I also have all of the specific questions. And in here, you can see I have it in a PDF. You can download it and sort of follow along and write it out. So this is a really good course. Lots of people get the job after they do this course. So I definitely recommend that there. And then of course, all of our other products, we have study guides here, free webinars next week. Let's see, what am I doing next week? School leadership interview. So if those of you who are trying to become a school leader, trying to become an assistant principal, I am doing that next week. And then beyond that, let's keep going. Oh, they're not up yet. But in May, I'm doing AI for educators. I'm doing this webinar again. And so I'm doing a bunch of other webinars. And then of course we have recent live webinars, and you can go all the way back. These are for tests that you have to take, but you can go all the way back, and I have classroom management, start your year off with success, the leadership process. Let's go here. How to lesson plan. I'm going to be redoing a lot of those over the summer as well. We're going to be doing some live stuff there. And then beyond that, if you're interested in, college prep for your student or, your kids at KMJ Learning, you can go here to free prep. If you put your email and name in here, you can get all of my practice test questions that I use in my daily YouTube videos. I go through, if you see here, let me just show you here. We go through all of these every day, and I give the questions out. So, after a while, you're getting a full SAT, and they are original questions. They are original questions. They are my questions, and there's a lot of practice here. I'm trying to give kids as much practice as possible. So I'm wearing the same outfit in that video. Here. Awesome. All right. So that is that. I hope you guys got a lot out of this webinar. Don't forget to use the offer code. Dana, TikTok is how I discovered you. That's awesome. Cool. I love that you help students with SAT prep. Yes, that's how I started, was with SAT prep, actually. I found this on Facebook. So much knowledge here. I'm so glad. We have a lot of focused online courses as well that you can learn this, and I'm building more of those. So be on the lookout for classroom management in the summer after the May webinars. I'm going to take a little break because I do webinars every single weekend, and I need a break, and so does my team. And I'm going to get into like classroom management, lesson planning, some of the things you need to be teachers. Like if you're brand new and you don't know. How about special education teachers interview prep? I don't have anything specific for special education teachers, but you can certainly put that into ChatGPT as well. But I don't have anything specific for that. But it's all going to be about differentiated and individualized instruction. But I'm not a special ed expert. My husband is. He taught special ed. So I don't want to lead you down the wrong path, but definitely throw that into ChatGPT. Let's see here. Thank you, Kathleen. I appreciate your free lesson review on interviewing resume. I practice with ChatGPT and I love it. Awesome. Oh, one more thing with ChatGPT. I just want to show you really quick. You can organize your chats. Let me go just to keep you guys organized right off the bat, because I learned this later and mine are so crazy. Here's ChatGPT. Over here is your menu. You can add this little plus here for new project, and you can make this like your resume project. And then all of your chats can stay in here. And the AI agent, we call these agents, it's an agent, but ChatGPT will remember all this stuff you put in here. So if you upload old resumes, you upload job descriptions, things like that, you can just keep adding to this, and it's going to train your agent to be better and better and better. All right. Just little things like that. Let's see here. Should answers be straight to the point or tell someone type of experience? I'm confused on this. Okay. Demesia, hopefully that's how you say your name. You should be straight and to the point. Try not to ramble. You could use the STAR method: situation, task, action, result. So what is the situation? Tell them the situation. What was your task? What was the action? And what was the result? Try to keep it in those parameters. Don't sound like a robot, but try to keep it in those parameters. They may ask you, tell me about a time when, and in that case, you would give them a scenario. Okay. Thank you for creating these courses. Let's see. For special education teachers, it's very important to check. Should answers be straight? I already did that in the interview. Accommodations. You do a great job. I can feel your excitement for topics. Awesome. Yes, I love this topic. This is one of my favorites. I'm going to let you guys go now and go do what you do on Saturdays and enjoy your day. I really appreciate it. This will be emailed to you along with some resources. And if you have any questions, you can always respond to the email. It'll come to our email, info@kathleenjasper.com. It's our pleasure to help you. And I am so glad you spent your Saturday here with me, and go out there and try these tools and go get that job and let us know how you do, because we want to know, did you get the job? Julie, let me know how that lesson went. I want to hear about it. Okay.